Hello, and welcome to Cloud Insiders, a podcast that brings cloud down to earth. Welcome to Cloud Insiders from Xtravirt. I'm Stuart Robinson, and in this podcast we are joined by Aylin Sali, CTO and co-founder of Runecast, and Xtravirt senior consultant Simon Eady. Today we're discussing infrastructure monitoring and data analytics. Welcome, guys.
Hi there.
Hello.
So, there is a lot of talk around IT infrastructure monitoring, understanding your virtual environment and analysing data. Why is this so important for organisations? Aylin, if you could kick us off.
Yeah, definitely. Well, in my 15 plus years of IT experience, I've seen monitoring becoming like a key factor in IT. But in order to look at monitoring, I think we need to step a bit back and just look at IT as a whole. So IT has become really an essential part of most, if not all, the businesses. And actually not only the businesses, but most of everything that we take for granted today relies on IT in some form. So for driving business success and for even like public safety and well-being, IT has to be secure, available, and efficient. So any decline in these three aspects can actually lead to problems ranging from security breaches that can lead to like data leaks, which is quite common these days, it seems. And any like outages that can actually bring down the whole service or like the business applications of that organization.
I can't think of any famous outages that have just happened. Can anyone else?
Yeah.
Sorry, Facebook.
That was quite a big one, yeah. Probably one of the biggest outages in history by the number of affected people.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so sometimes you can even have this kind of catastrophic failures there. So for each of these three aspects, security, availability, and efficiency, monitoring the IT infrastructure is really essential because it can give the IT operations teams, which are behind that IT infrastructure and they are responsible for it. They get the needed information of what is affected, where and for how long, so they can respond to that and just bring everything back to what it was.
Perfect. Yeah. Simon, have you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's very damaging to have any outages, not just from a cost point of view, but from a brand and PR point of view. We've seen many outages, not just the recent Facebook one, but other very damaging outages or problems that could have been averted by effective and solid monitoring. So it's an investment up front that will protect you going forward, a little bit like security products, antivirus, that kind of thing. Good monitoring helps you keep your finger on the pulse, and you can scale that up from your operations guys all the way up to the top if you've got the right tools, and show your executives that you are doing what you're doing. You're doing your due diligence, and the business is safe.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty compelling case for infrastructure monitoring. Does that mean getting management buy-in is easy? I mean, Simon, I know we've spoken recently and you've said that monitoring is actually now sometimes being driven from the C-level.
Yeah, so there have been several occasions where I've been going in and doing pieces of work where board level input has been that they want to see what's going on. They didn't necessarily need to get into the weeds, but they needed tools and solutions that could help them, give them peace of mind, and then, of course, feed down and give the operations team the right type of tooling to do their job effectively. Again, going back to all of the high-profile outages, that for any board, that's not the kind of thing you want to wake up to in the morning. You don't need that. You want to know that if you're hearing about it for someone else, you want to have that peace of mind that we've got our ship in order.
Yeah. Aylin, are you seeing the same kinds of things? Management driving it, or are you seeing the influence coming from another direction?
No, I think it's the same. Monitoring has become really a fundamental aspect of IT. So when organizations are setting up their IT, they think, okay, so we need servers, networks, applications, backup, and monitoring. So it really became a list item on any IT budget. I've also seen, Simon was mentioning, that this is actually driven by C-level, and they get more and more involved in that. Even looking at the monitoring tools and the functionality, like managerial reports, are just a key functional or feature for any monitoring solution out there. So management and executive level want to be more connected to the IT, and they want to see that part is like taken care of. So
yeah, everyone wants to make sure, as Simon says, that the ship is in order. No one wants to be the last to hear about their own company.
Exactly, yeah.
So getting into the detail, Aylin, you've seen firsthand how organisations are monitoring their infrastructure. What are the best use cases you've seen? What information are these organisations seeing, monitoring, and what analytics are they extracting? I mean, how are they using this information?
Yeah, what we've seen in my previous roles in IBM, but also back in Romania where I started the IT, and now also with Runecast, I've seen that this is maybe at a crossroad now, the whole monitoring aspect, because the traditional monitoring evolved pretty well, maybe like starting 15 years ago, or even before there has always been monitoring for IT, but it really started to be more used in infrastructure, especially with like virtualization and a bit cloud as well, but mostly with virtualization initially.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've seen that the traditional monitoring is quite fine, and as I said, is a list item on any IT budget. But the traditional monitoring is just focused on like, are my servers up? Is our network accessible? Is it the storage or network like performing at the optimal KPIs and so on? So these are definitely part of the basic set of monitoring, and we see that implemented everywhere. However, we see now an increase in new and innovative approaches such as AI ops, predictive and proactive monitoring, which are also driven by the huge amount of data that is being generated. It's also driven by the improvements or innovations in AI. So together with like other innovations in IT, like containers, Kubernetes, hybrid cloud adoption, IoT, even like serverless, even the newer things, organizations need to actually adapt. And we've seen some of our customers really quite well ahead with adoption of these new innovations. But for that, they actually need to really understand those use cases, understand really well the architecture that is behind all of these new approaches, and also understand what kind of tools are needed. So yeah, it's quite important for all levels of IT in those organizations, from management, architects, engineers, to actually stay on top of their game and just follow all the new things in technology, all the social media, blogs, forums, attend any conferences, just to understand these shifts and to make sure that they align their monitoring or the whole IT infrastructure strategy to that. Because yeah, I think the changes that are coming up now in IT are quite deep, and everything around that needs to be well adapted as well.
Yeah. And Simon, how about you? What kind of use cases have you been seeing for monitoring and analytics these days?
Yeah, so from your traditional monitoring, things are now getting a lot smarter, and customers are expecting the tooling to be a lot smarter. So I would say one of the key areas that is important for any monitoring tool now is the ability to do remediation, either in an automatic fashion or a controlled fashion, but so that it's not just, oh, we've got a ticket, we need to go and research that, or we've got tooling that knows what to do, and you could, if you configure it correctly, you can get it to remediate and sort that problem out, either when the issue occurs or in a proactive manner where it can see, based on trends, that it can make some changes to the environment that are within constraints, and therefore avert a problem or a catastrophe. So the expectation on the tooling and the intelligence behind it, whether it's AI, machine learning, or however it's designed, people are expecting more for their money, and rightly so. I mean, environments and infrastructure is getting incredibly complicated, and it's only going to get sort of more complex. Yeah, there's sort of more siloed different bits and pieces that you need to monitor, and you need to be able to react quickly. So those are the things I'm seeing.
Brilliant. So Aylin, Runecast offer a monitoring and analytics product for VMware infrastructure. Can you give us an overview of how this works and how it's benefiting organizations?
Yeah, definitely. Since we're talking about monitoring, I just wanted to say that with Runecast, we actually targeted more the niche in the proactive monitoring because, yeah, monitoring is quite important. But speaking about this need to adapt to all the changes there, we also felt that now it's more attainable to actually use all that data, not only the data which is coming from the environment itself, but to use all the available data that is actually out there on the internet in forms of like knowledge bases, documentation, best practices, security guides, to use that amount of data in a proactive way. Our approach has been to actually crawl all that available data, parse everything that's out there. So we started actually with the VMware knowledge base. I'm pretty sure all the VMware admins are quite familiar with the KB articles. So we've parsed all the 30,000 plus KB articles from VMware together with many other best practices. And sometimes we're even following like social media and forums where we extract the relevant knowledge and we distill it into logical sentences, rules, and checks that then we use actually to analyze the VMware infrastructure. And not only that, we've extended it also with Horizon and NSX now. So we're covering the whole SDDC stack of VMware plus Horizon to understand in a proactive way, based on that data that is available in the KB articles and best practice guides and so on, if any issues can manifest themselves before they actually cause outages. So we are like fully focused now on proactive monitoring for VMware infrastructures. We're also having some reactive part using log analytics. So we use patterns that are described again in the KB articles, patterns that are known to cause issues or are related to any issues, and we monitor the logs of the vSphere infrastructure to just understand what kind of issues are going on now there.
Brilliant. Simon, have you got anything to add to that?
I was having a look at the Runecast site and I noticed that there's a feature that's in beta, which is the VMware HCL. I don't know if you can talk about it, but I'd be interested to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. We just released the first private beta last week, and we'll be releasing by the end of April public beta. So the feature will be available to anyone who uses Runecast Analyzer, our virtual appliance for proactive analysis of VMware environments. So the HCL is actually something that has been requested by many of our existing customers, and also we as ex-VMware engineers, admins, and architects. So yeah, the core Runecast founding team comes from a deep VMware technical background. So we know that HCL is actually really, really important, and it also takes a lot of time to make sure that you are compliant with all the details about your hardware. So the server model, BIOS versions, driver and firmware combinations of all the IO devices that are on those servers. And it's something that you always need to keep an eye on, because not only that you will not be supported by VMware, but many issues that can happen actually there are caused by using hardware that is not certified. So yeah, we've automated end-to-end approach to making sure that you are on top of the HCL by actually implementing or adding all these rules and checks that we extracted from the HCL side. We included that in the analysis. So now you can easily see, as part of the proactive analysis, you can also easily see an overview of all the servers, models, BIOS, driver, firmware combinations that are available there. And another feature we'll be adding after the beta would be to check the upgradability. So before any upgrades on vSphere, you could also check if there might be any issues on the HCL. So if any drivers or firmware might not be compatible with what you're trying to upgrade to.
Brilliant. Sounds like it's going to be a really, really helpful tool.
Yeah, we hope so.
That's right. So our listeners, they're sold on monitoring. What should they do next? How are they going to get started? Aylin, if we come to you first.
Yeah, so Runecast extends actually the traditional monitoring capabilities. So we are not trying to compete with anything that they already have there. So I think it's quite important for organizations to actually look and understand the shifts on the market and to just complement their traditional IT monitoring solutions, or just to even refresh those with smarter tools, tools that are using AI and analytics, tools that are helping them be proactive. And that's what we do at Runecast, especially focused at the proactive level. So they can just go ahead and try our product. It takes literally 5 minutes to register for the free trial, download the appliance, and connect it to your vCenters for the analysis. So
brilliant. And Simon, if you were trying to get someone started down the analytics and monitoring road?
Yeah, so it might be that you don't have any monitoring. I'd hope not, but or you've got sort of fairly basic tooling. Really, you need to look at, if you're going to be looking at making a purchase, it needs to be a good fit for you, not just from a cost point of view, but also, is it reactive enough? Is it proactive enough? Where are your pain points? And then marry up an effective tool for that. And there are many, many good tools out there, such as Runecast. So really, it's not just a quick decision, in my opinion. You need to analyze the market a little bit, experiment with some of the tools that are available as a free download, again, as Runecast. Have a look at it, see what it does for you. Does it give you what you need? How do you want to be alerted? Do you want it to be email? Do you need it to be automated? All these kinds of questions are really important, because once you're invested in it, it's not so easy to just exit. So whatever tool that you jump into, you need to be thinking that it should be for a good duration of time, rather than just a temporary fix if you can help it. So those are the kinds of things I would suggest.
Brilliant. So guys, thank you very much. I mean, that's been hugely insightful. If anyone wanted to get in contact with you guys to talk about monitoring analytics, or just generally have a chat, how could they get hold of you, Aylin?
I think the best for me would be Twitter. That's like my main communication tool now. I'm also a vExpert, and I'm quite active on the vExpert community. And my Twitter handle is at V for virtual. So V and then the digit, or the number 4 and virtual.
Brilliant. And Simon, I believe you've got quite the catchy Twitter handle yourself.
I don't know about catchy, but yeah, I really enjoy using Twitter as well. So that's the best place to contact me, and that's just at Simon Eady.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cloud Insiders. To find out more and to listen to additional episodes, go to cloudinsiders.fm. You can follow us on Twitter at Cloud Insiders and subscribe on iTunes. Catch you next time.